Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and take in your seats. Yeah, well, okay. We didn't need to really talk about that, did we? Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. No matter if you're at home cuddled up with your favorite cup of coffee, already at work, or tuning in while getting your morning walk in, we're so grateful you're spending some of your morning with us. Couple housekeeping items real quick, though. Restrooms are... Dang it. Okay, well, you're on your own with that one. And secondly, we're beyond excited to announce that this year, we won't be running out of coffee. Past couple of years, we've run out of coffee no matter how much we order. So that won't be happening today because, we're virtual. I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Allison Gatz, and I'm absolutely honored to serve as YMI's Executive Director and to officially welcome you to the annual Mayor's Fundraising Breakfast to benefit YMI. Usually for our Mayor's Breakfast, we'd be at the Ambassador House, enjoying a nice, beautiful fall morning, networking with the who's who of Fishers, learning maybe a few dad jokes, and celebrating the amazing work of Youth Mentoring Initiative. But like many other things taken away by this pandemic, we don't get that chance this year. We don't get a chance to see you. But we do get the chance to share our story and hope some of you will partner with us in helping Hamilton Southeastern students realize their individual potential through school-based mentoring. So for those of you who may not know much about what we do, you aren't too far behind the rest of us because our program has had to reinvent itself countless times since March 16th. Because we're a school-based program, we've had to pivot in order to keep our mentees and mentors connected when schools closed. And that has remained our focus without fail. We could have laid off staff and closed up shop in March, but we didn't. We knew the kids that we served needed their mentors now more than ever, and bailing on them was not and is still not an option. Our how seems like it changes on a daily basis, sometimes on a minute basis, but one thing remains unchanged, and that is our why. Today, you're going to learn more about our why, how our mentoring program is not only changing the lives of students in our community, but also the lives of YMI mentors. And speaking of YMI mentors, I'd like to introduce you to one of our most beloved veteran mentors and YMI champion, Steve Chivarusa.
Growing up for our kids has become a test of faith, patience, and strength. They're told that if they have the right skinny jeans, the right friends, the right hair, the right cell phone, if they hang around with the right group, that they should be happy, and very often they find that they're not. Or what's worse is they don't have the right group of friends, they don't have the right clothes, they don't drive the right car, and then they're stuck in isolation and despair. Over 70% of the kids that are referred to Youth Mentoring Initiative are referred to for emotional support. And over 85% of those kids show an improvement per HSE staff. So it's important now more than ever that we become involved in the youth in our community. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you one of my friends and one of the great servant leaders in our community, the new chairman of the YMI board, Joey.
Thanks, Steve. I'm excited to help lead the YMI Board of Directors as we continue to advance and grow YMI's vision to provide mentoring for students by building and sustaining a mentoring community with the highest level of service, integrity, encouragement, and empathy. Most importantly, YMI is investing in our youth, and we hope you will assist us in that important mission today. I'm also humbled and honored to follow Chief Arusa as president. Chief Arusa is a true servant leader in our community, and you'll hear a little more about that later this morning. As Allison indicated, a key aspect of today's virtual fundraiser is to help the Fishers community understand why it is so important to support YMI, especially now. The pandemic has left many students feeling isolated and vulnerable, and we have a record number of students who have asked for and really would like to work with a mentor. So how can you help YMI? If you're able to join YMI as a mentor and can meet with a mentee for 1 hour a week, please go to the YMI website at ymionline.org and sign up. If you don't have time or aren't ready for that kind of commitment, then we hope you'll donate today to help support YMI's mentor programming and address head-on the unprecedented demand of students who need mentors. Donating is very easy. You can go to the givebutter.com/YMI breakfast page where you signed up for today's live stream and click on the donate button. Even easier, take out your cell phone and text YMI and your amount to 202-858-1233. That's 202-858-1233. There you go. I just donated $25 loaded on my phone. Please help support YMI by donating now. Today, you're going to hear from YMI mentors, mentees, sponsors, and also from each of our YMI board of directors. The board of directors are going to share with you a little bit about why YMI is so important to them. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing our first guest speakers this morning. Allison Gatz and Brooke Lawson will share a question and answer session about mentoring generally and YMI. Allison has been the executive director of YMI since 2016 as a tireless advocate for YMI's mission along with her entire staff. We appreciate all of their efforts, especially over the past 6 months, dealing with literally the daily and weekly changes due to the pandemic. Allison's guest this morning is Brooke Lawson. As many of you know, Brooke is the Mental Health and School Counseling Coordinator for HSE Schools, a member of the HSE Schools District Equity Team, and is also a member of the City of Fisher's Mental Health Task Force. Brooke sees firsthand every day how supporting mental health in students can remove barriers to learning and how the mentor-mentee relationship is just one way to assist students in achieving success in all aspects of their lives. Good morning, Allison and Brooke.
Brooke, thank you so much for coming this morning. We're really glad that you're here and we get a chance to actually sit down and have a conversation. So why don't we just dive right on in? We're beginning to see a lot of curriculum come down the pike as far as SEL, the social emotional learning, through the district. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and why that is important for our kids to learn those skills?
Yeah, sure. So back in 2016, when we started writing our Lilly Endowment Grant, we surveyed the community, we surveyed our students, we surveyed our parents, and one of the things that many people were sharing was that there was really a lack in the social emotional, or what some people might call soft skills, in our students. And that was an overwhelming response from the business community. They would say things like, HSE kids, they are well prepared academically for their futures, but they lack those soft skills that are really important to be successful adults. And so we started examining the work that we do in our district, and we weren't explicitly teaching those skills in every grade level. And so we started exploring what that might look like. And students were also telling us that, overwhelmingly stress was a barrier to their learning, and fear of failure, and not being able to organize themselves, or struggles with relationships with peers. And so we really felt like it was important to examine how we were teaching those skills and if we were teaching them in all grade levels. And what we found was at the elementary level, it's a natural thing to do, right, in class. But at the higher grade levels, we weren't setting aside time necessarily to really focus on those skills, teach the skills, and then reinforce them. And so I'm so excited. This school year is our first year in grades K through 8 that every teacher is teaching social emotional learning skills to students weekly. And so those are things like, how do I manage my emotions? How do I organize myself so that I can be successful in school? How do I get along with peers? How does my brain work, and what happens in my brain when I experience a difficult emotion, and what are things I can do to calm myself down? How do I have conversation with someone who I might disagree with but be respectful about it? So they're all important skills that even adults need. And so it's really an exciting year for us. Our teachers are rock stars. They are implementing this curriculum. I can't think of a better time than right now to be teaching these skills and focusing on these things.
Well, I'm so glad you guys are doing that because, those are things that are going to stay with the kids their entire life. Mm-hmm. And if they can figure out those skills now, when they're young, then maybe some of the hardships that might come down the path later
Right.
won't be so hard.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
Well, I'm glad that we're seeing that roll out. Now, what about with some of the older grades? Is curriculum on the docket for them?
Yeah, so this is our first year at the high school level that we're teaching. We're piloting. So not all students at the high school level are receiving this curriculum regularly. It's being piloted at the 9th grade level with plans to fully roll out curriculum for grades 9 through 12. And it looks a little different there. So we are also talking about college and career readiness and,
Right.
you know, what are careers that might interest me, or, you know, what are my strengths as a human being, and how might I use those strengths in a career that's going to be something that I enjoy in the future.
That's awesome. So valuable. So when we talk about some of the SEL stuff, how do you envision YMI mentors assisting with this work, and what could YMI mentors possibly learn themselves along the way?
Well, so I think they play a huge role in this work, and I was actually looking at the outcomes document that you shared with me, and I was looking at the reasons for referrals and also the things that students had improved as a result of being having a mentor. And I think our mentors can reinforce this work. They can use the common language. They can talk to their students, like, what are you learning about? What you learn about this week? And how can I support you in improving those skills? So I think that they play a really huge role in that work.
Yeah, I know some of our mentors tell us that, you know, just being that listening ear sometimes goes a long way, because it gives the kids the ability just to get some of that stuff off their chest. But then to go a little bit further, that the mentors help the kids work through some of those emotions. And so when I look at the outcome report and I see what the kids put as far as how did having a YMI mentor impact your life, so many of them made a comment about, my mentor helped me handle my emotions and deal with them in a positive way. And some of them were, you know, they're so authentic in their comments. And, you know, one kid said, you know, I didn't get in as many fights this year. And that's success.
Right,
Right?
for sure. Well, and I also think that our teachers have told us by teaching these skills, I'm actually learning some of them myself, or they're great reminders for me to remember, you know, when I am experiencing high levels of stress, there are portions of my brain that don't work, right? And so there are things that I need to do to calm myself down, to take care of myself. So these skills are for everyone. They're not just for kids. And I know that wasn't necessarily something I learned in high school, but I think how powerful that would have been to have focused on skills like that for my future, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a great reminder, even when my own child's home links is what we call them, they're the reinforcement for parents. When those come home, I think, oh my gosh, this is such a great skill. Like, why are we not talking about this? So it's great reminders for everyone.
Do you think we weren't taught skills like this when we were growing up because we didn't really talk much about emotions and feelings?
I do. And I also think, you know, sometimes people will say things like, well, that's the parents' job, right, to focus on those.
But what
skills
if the
or
parents
teach
don't
those.
know because they
Well,
were never
right?
taught?
And I'm the example for my own child, right? And
Yeah.
I think sometimes, like, whenever they see me talking about anger or frustration or sadness, it's typically because I'm feeling that way, and I'm probably not always setting the greatest example on how to deal with those things. And so
Right.
I also see our mentors being somebody that is just a non-judgmental listening ear for students to share emotions and to even give examples of ways that they handle their
Yeah.
own emotions and
Yeah.
frustrations. And
Absolutely. And I think the ripple effect then, when you have a mentor that is also learning along the way, then the ripple effect of that then feeds into their personal relationships with their friends, family, neighbors, but then also their work relationships. And so the ripple effect into the community, I think, could be pretty vast.
For sure. Yeah, and that's something that this year we're really hoping to focus a lot on, is how do we help our community come alongside us in this work? And I see our mentors as playing a huge role in that.
Yeah. That's awesome. So as we think about mentors, you know, I find myself telling people all the time that it's not rocket science. So what do you envision in your mind, what would make a good mentor? What kind of person would make a good mentor?
I think that anyone can be a mentor. I think mentoring is so important to our community and to our students that you don't have to be some special type of person or have some special type of personality. If you can listen and encourage someone, then you can be a mentor.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is something that sometimes we overthink, right? Like I think back to experiences that I've had and mentors that I think have been impactful to me, and I think about the fact that really they were just a non-judgmental listener who helped me solve problems but didn't have all the answers, right? But just being able to listen was super impactful to me.
And I don't think all mentors necessarily have to have life figured out. That sometimes the best mentors are the ones that have been through the most challenging life circumstances, and they were able to persevere and rise above.
Yeah, that's so funny that you say that. So when last year we spent a lot of time talking to our teachers about the SEL work and the curriculum and the lessons and learning about what was good about the lessons, what they felt like we needed to shift. And some of the teachers said the most impactful lessons were the lessons that I decided to be vulnerable with the students in my class and share my own personal experiences and tell them how I persevered. And that's when I had the most participation, and the students loved those lessons the most.
Yeah.
And when they can see that, like, not everybody has it together, because we really don't, right? That then they're more, they're less likely to be so hard on themselves and to realize that, like, I'll get through this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when they can see us show up in our vulnerable self, here I'm going Brene on you. When we can show up and let them see our true selves, then that gives them permission to be their true selves. And, I think with all the results and all the achievements, that come so frequently in a community like ours, that sometimes it's nice to take a backseat to that for a moment and just say, you know what? It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not have this figured out.
Yeah, and the pressures too, right? Like, I think our students experience a lot of pressure, and I think they put it on themselves at times too. And so to have somebody there that just listens and supports them no matter what is what everybody needs, right?
Yeah. So as we wrap up, who would come to mind when you think of that mentored you?
So I definitely think somebody that was super impactful in my own life as a young adult was my grandmother. And so my parents divorced at a young age, and that was difficult growing up in a small community. I didn't have a lot of friends who were experiencing that as well. But my grandma, luckily she lived 3 houses down, which was so awesome. And she was just that person who would listen to me, right? She wasn't trying to steer me in any certain way. She just listened, and she set such a great example of how to be a kind, caring human being.
Yeah.
And so I always think back to, like, just the way I witnessed her interact with people showed me how I could be a caring person too.
So at some point, there was probably a switch that went from that's just my grandma to you realizing that was actually a mentor for you. So at what point in your life did that kind of occur to you?
I think, honestly, it didn't occur to me until I left for college, and I was thinking back to, growing up and deciding what I was going to do for a career and why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I think that's when I realized, like, I want to be like my grandma and help people, even though she didn't help people in the way that I do, right? But I just felt like that's where I find my most joy, is helping people and being there for other people. And I know that she was a great example for me in that.
Yeah. Well, she did a nice job because you're pretty amazing.
Oh, well,
and
thank
you do help a lot of people, and we're very lucky to have you in this district and in this community.
Oh, well, thank you. And we feel the same way about our YMI mentors and your staff. They build into our students. They're those unsung heroes that people don't often see, but we know that they're behind the scenes cheering on our students and encouraging them and supporting them, and we're so grateful for that.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I love having conversations with you, and I know we could sit here and chat all morning long, but we appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
My name is Jagger Rent. I am new to the board this year, and I am so excited to be a part of this awesome organization. The focus and the mission of this program is exactly why I'm a part of it. I believe that students who have had trauma or have had problems in their life, the number one factor to them overcoming that is a caring adult. And that's what YMI is all about. So glad you're here today. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Ashley Elrod, and I've been a member of the YMI Board of Directors for a little over 2 years now. And for me, Youth Mentoring Initiative is such a critical piece of our community. Studies have shown that just one quality adult relationship in a child's life will change the trajectory of their lives forever. And I see that every single day in our work here in the community through YMI. And I hope that you see that impact as well. I hope that today you hear the stories of those involved, both as mentees, mentors, and as board members, and feel called to either give or give your own time as a mentor.
Hi, my name is Matt Kegley, and during the day I serve as the Executive Director of Secondary Education for Hamilton Southeastern Schools. I also serve as the Vice President of the Board of Directors for YMI. In this role, in both of these roles, I have the opportunity to see firsthand the impact that mentoring has on our students. When I first joined the board, I was principal at Hamilton Southeastern High School, and we were just starting to get mentoring in our schools. YMI has been a key partner with HSC schools in providing this important relationship of matching a caring adult with students who need a caring adult in their lives. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, I'm Troy Woodruff, President and CEO of RQAW Corporation. I'm happy to be here this morning and glad for all of you tuning in. The big thing for me is being both a corporate sponsor here in the city of Fishers, a mentor myself, and also a member of the board of directors. These things are all not planned by any means, but I remember sitting in this very breakfast a year ago, 2 years ago now, I believe, actually. And I sat in this breakfast and I got to hear about all the wonderful things that the YMI is doing and what they're doing for kids. And I thought to myself, wow, what an impactful organization. And what can we do and what can I do as an individual to give back to my own community? I thought, well, I can give up an hour a week or a couple hours a week to help mentor somebody. I mean, I had mentors as I was growing up, and so it made perfect sense for me. And so I signed up to be a mentor following that breakfast. And it was the best decision I ever made. I had a wonderful young mentee who's doing really well and enjoy that time together. But moving from there, I had the opportunity to come on the board, and I thought, yeah, this is another way I can serve and to help encourage as well, to help hopefully get other people to be involved as mentors, to give back to our community here at large. And you see all the issues that go on in our schools and all the things, and we always say to ourselves, well, man, it makes me nervous about this next generation. But as I meet these kids and I think about their needs and what they have and what they're looking for, I think to myself, man, if I can help fill that gap and just be an influence just for the kids in my own neighborhood or kids in our own schools, then wow, what an impact that could be. And it helps me as much as I hope that I help them. And moving from there, it was an easy transition as a company owner here in Fishers. Our company is about 120 employees. We're in downtown, and I talk to our folks all the time about our core tenets as an organization. And one of those tenets is, what can we do to impact the communities we're in? And so this was an easy no-brainer for our folks to say, hey, let's support this organization that is really focused on our kids in our community, and what can we do to help make them stronger, make them feel better about where they're at, help give them guidance in their life, just to be a positive role model, a positive influence. We think about our community and we think about all the things we have. And from a business perspective, it's very important. But you think about all the things we have, and people look at us and they say, wow, I wish we had all that infrastructure. I wish we had that type of wealth in our community. Well, those things don't mean that we don't have issues or that our kids don't have issues. Because certainly they do, and they do need mentors, and they do need people that will listen to them and help guide them and bounce things off. And so for a company perspective, we are so proud to be a sponsor for YMI. I am so proud to be a mentor for YMI. I am so proud to serve on this organization. And I can't think of a better way to give back to my community. And so I would encourage you to give back, whether it's with your time, with your dollars, with your organization, to be a part of this group. You will not regret it, your employees will not regret it, and I can promise you those kids will appreciate it.
What did Jesus Christ say? He said a prophet's never recognized in their own hometown. And one of the things that a parent can't do is a parent can't talk to a child about things that a mentor can, because we're outside of the box. We're somebody that they feel safe with. We're not there, like I said, we're not there to correct them. We're not there to fix. We're there for them to bounce ideas off of us. We're there to serve each other in a relationship.
This is my second year.
How important is it to you?
It's really important. It's nice to talk to someone.
I would say be yourself. Don't try to control the person. Be their friend. The advantage with a mentor-mentee relationship is you can just be with friends each other. You don't have to be their solutions. But when they have problems and they want to talk, if the friendship is there, they will talk. When there's things that are troubling them, if they feel comfortable with you, they'll discuss those. And part of that is just building a relationship with the person.
Well, it was really nice to me. We just talk a lot. Sometimes we play board games.
We've had good interaction. I think it's great to be able to work together, to talk together, to play together, and it's good for me. Evan's my second mentee. My other mentee moved away. We've had a pretty good interaction. Well, what we both have. One of the reasons we enjoy the games is we both work on building our strategy, and I think strategy is part of life, and strategy is part of business, but it's also part of play, and we enjoy working together. So sometimes we'll share strategy. That's why I beat him in Battleship, because he told me his strategy, and so I plan around that. So he's already figured that out, and so he's starting to get back at me now. The reason I give is I would like to see more people reached, and I know YMI has costs, YMI has expenses. We have a waiting list with a lot of kids that would like to have a mentor that presently don't have one. So YMI needs volunteers, but they also need funds to manage their program. Just as an example, YMI has offered seminars on suicide prevention and how to spot a suicide risk. Somebody had to put that together. Somebody in administration had to put that together. Somebody had to fund it. What I give to YMI helps projects like that happen.
In the city of Fishers, we're so blessed with a great network of both youth and adults. And some of those adults we're still waiting to tap into to become mentors, to pour into our youth. And to talk about that today, we've reached out to a good friend, mentor of mine, former Indianapolis Colts football player, Joe Wrights.
Thanks, Matt. This is Joe Wrights coming at you live from the annual Mayor's Breakfast benefiting YMI. It's a little different this year, but hey, it's 2020, so we're virtual here, and I got my cup of coffee and eggs and fired up to be here because, mentoring is something that I'm very passionate about. I grew up in Fishers. My parents still live at 106 in Cumberland Road, and my Mom and Dad, Dave and Jane, were great, and they were great role models for me. But beyond that, I had so many great friends and parents' friends and coaches and teachers and people in the community that helped me become the man I am today. And I really believe it takes a village to raise a child, and I was the benefit of growing up in the great city of Fishers, Indiana, and having so many great mentors around me in my life. And so I encourage you, if you're watching this today, get involved. Get involved and be a mentor, donate as maybe the good Lord calls you to do. But so many kids now need mentors, and it's a lot different than it was 20 years ago when I was growing up here. The difference is the cell phone that everybody has. And here's my virtual cell phone, but kids now are exposed to so much through Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, some other app that I haven't even heard of. You go home and Netflix, YouTube, everything. If we don't raise our kids, something else is going to, and it's going to be the media. And I'm guessing that if you're watching this today, you don't want the media raising your kids and your friends' kids and your community's kids. And so that's why I say get involved and be a mentor to someone, to get involved and help a young girl or boy. And I promise you that relationship will benefit you probably more than it would be the person you're mentoring. And I think there's three people everybody needs in their life. You need a mentor or a coach. You need a teammate, somebody that's your peer that's walking through life with you and holding you accountable in a positive way. And you need to be coaching somebody, mentoring somebody, sewing into somebody younger than you. And that reverse mentoring relationship, I've mentored a couple young boys that are 16, 17, and they don't know it, but I'm learning way more from them than they are from me. And I'm preparing, my oldest daughter is 9 years old, and know that in a few years she's going to be a teenager, and it's a crazy world out there, much different than me. And so we both learn, and these relationships are mutually beneficial. And while I mentioned I'm so proud to be from Fishers, Indiana, it's grown quite a bit since I was here, 20 years ago. And there was just one high school when I went through Hamilton Southeastern. I know now there's two, and there's, 10 plus elementary schools. There's so many kids and there's so many high achievers, but that leaves a big void in terms of kids they're just doing okay. They're floating along and their grades are good, but maybe they don't play a sport or they're a great athlete. Or maybe they're not involved in some extracurricular activity where they're really shining. And those kids are the ones that need mentors. I can remember when I was a teenager, I mentioned my parents are great, but when I'm 15, I'm not listening to mom or dad. Not at all. Whatever they told me, false, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to listen to you. But I listened to my friends' parents, or I'd listen to my calculus teacher, or I'd listen to my football offensive line coach, or my JV basketball coach, because I knew there wasn't that close relationship bias, and they generally wanted what's best interest for Joe. And like I said, that mentorship is powerful, and I think there's a huge group of kids, there's a huge void that are 16, 13, 17 years old, growing up in this crazy world, that need adult interaction, that need mentorship, that need men and women that are taking time out of their day to sow into them so they don't get lost in the shuffle, so they can realize their full potential, so they don't have to battle the mental health issues that are affecting so many teenagers in America today, multiplied by 2020 in this COVID environment that we're in. So again, I would encourage you, as your heart calls you to do, to donate either your time, your talent, or your treasure, or maybe all three, and really get involved in YMI, because it's such a powerful organization. And I sit here today very blessed to have a 9-year career in the NFL. The reason I was able to have that career is because I was sewed into by a bunch of great people other than mom and dad. And I want to have a special charge to all the men out there watching right now. That's right, men, I'm calling you out in a positive way, because there's a deficit of male mentors right now. And, I understand why that's the case, but I would encourage you, reevaluate where life has maybe shifted your work in the last 6 months. I know it's a COVID environment. A lot of people that were traveling a bunch, or every meeting's in person in the office. Now a lot of guys like me sometimes are working from home. And if you're working from home, you might have an hour in that week that you could virtually mentor a young man. And while I say I'm calling out men, I think it's important to do so. Because the bottom line, women are better than men. They just are. I've been married 10 and a half years now, and I know that. And I have 3 daughters who are, for the most part, perfect angels. And I have 2 sons who are kind of knuckleheads sometimes. And I worry a little bit more about my sons because they're more apt to do something kind of irrational and crazy. And so I pray that they find other strong men in their life. And I pray, my wife and I do every night, that they find those other people, those men in the community that are strong pillars of the community with very good values that can sow into them. So men, I'm calling you out. If you can find an hour in your week, awesome. If you can't do it, if time's something that you can't give, look into giving your talent. Maybe you're a business owner and you could do some really cool things. Look into giving your treasure. And if it's in your heart to donate some money to maybe pair up another mentor with person. But there's a deficit of male mentors in our great city of Fishers, and we need men just like you to step up and rise to the challenge.
Thank you so much, Joe. Such a great story and testimony to the impact of one teacher, one coach, or one mentor. You know, we're all pretty fortunate in Fishers to have access to an amazing school system that financially supports programs like YMI to assist their students with as many resources as possible so that these kids can realize their own individual potential. Programs like YMI are essential to helping our kids get through not only the effects of this pandemic and its isolation, but to get through the teenage years with skills needed to handle whatever life might throw at them. An education and a great job are pretty fabulous. But what about helping them develop into being a good human? Helping them realize that even if our circumstances might not be ideal, we can still find joy and be a light for others. Aren't those the things that matter? Don't these kids deserve to rise above their circumstances? These are some of the words taken right from some of our submissions for kids requesting a mentor. Death of a mother. Lives with aunt, mother's identical twin, no father in life. Mom reached out to say he's shutting down. No interest in anything, no desire at all, sadness and isolation. Parents going through a divorce. He doesn't feel like he has a future. Family issues, mood, foster child. Sister has major medical needs. Sick, single mom, and anxiety. These are just a few of our most recent student recommendations for a mentor. And we've had almost 250 of these recommendations last school year alone, and almost 60 of these just since March. Guys, this is why it matters so much. These are kids' lives right here in our own community that need us. They need us to suit up and show up for them because they're our kids and they matter. And so I also want you to see a couple more board members that also suit up and show up for these kids.
Corby Thompson. I've been engaged with YMI since its beginning, since the inception. One thing that amazes me about YMI is that it continually manages to improve itself, and this is relevant and this is evident in the measurable outcomes, the authentic outcomes that we produce, from the teachers to the campus coordinators to the incredible staff to the mentors. Everyone communicates about improving the life of the student. And from there, when the student's life is better, the school is better, the families are better, even the mentor is better. So if you have any interest in participating in an organization that truly helps the local community, Youth Mentoring Initiative deserves your thoughtful consideration. There's lots of room. Come on in. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name's Nick Shesky. I'm one of our new board members this year. And hey, a year ago, when my wife and I moved to the area, and we heard about the work that YMI was doing in our schools, it was a no-brainer to get involved. Because fundamentally, we believe that every student needs a mentor, a coach, someone to link arms with them and say, hey, I believe in you. Someone that can encourage them, and honestly, someone that could inspire them and say, hey, maybe there's more in you than you even know. We're so excited about the work YMI is doing, and we're excited for all that's ahead for us this next year.
My name is Dr. Crystal Murph-Thorpe, and I'm a very proud principal of Fishers Junior High School. In 2008, we started YMI at our school with the founder and one of my teachers who felt like it was really important for our middle school students to have an adult in their lives. And as a middle school principal, one of the most important things for our students is to make sure that they are connected. Oftentimes, that's where our students are trying to figure things out. It's also a time when they are pushing their parents away. And I just believe that, especially at that age, it's really important to have an adult who cares about them, who can talk to them through issues. And I can honestly say that it makes my heart so full when I have my mentors come to my school and I see the smiles on my students' faces because they're so excited to see someone come in and just talk to them and just be there for them.
Hi, I'm Matt Schicker. I am on the board for YMI, and not only on the board, but I'm also a mentor. I wanted to be a mentor for YMI, to be able to pour back into the youth of our community, to be able to develop the youth of our community, be able to show encouragement, show them that there are options out there, give them the opportunity to grow, and see that there's a whole vast array of different things for them to do after school, after high school, and moving on into college and into their careers. Through what I've kind of come up and developed, which is called VIP, not only to be a very important person, but also to add value, to be intentional, and to have purpose. And so through those kind of core values, I hope to be able to give them a platform to continue to grow and develop in the future.
Hi, I'm Betsy Block, and this is my husband Rich, and we have supported YMI for many years in a variety of different ways. We've both served as mentors, we give financially, and I am now on the board. And it all started when Rich and his company actually attended one of the very first fundraisers for YMI, and it goes back a few years, and maybe you want us to share a little bit about that experience.
Sure, so I can speak both from a sponsor and actually a mentor perspective. And I think for anybody who is considering giving, I would really want to reinforce the value that I know personally I have gained, but also what I think I've been able to help an individual with. And I've now had 4 individuals that we sponsored. I know we continue to provide sponsorship yearly to YMI. I also was part of the city's support, which I couldn't be more happy by. But I took on, there's one relationship that I'd share that just reinforced to me the value that I would hope that people who are considering sponsorship will take value from. I sponsored an individual who lost his mom and dad. His mom passed away when he was 15. He moved in with his cousin as legal guardian. I sponsored him or mentored him through 3 years of high school, and then we continue to have a relationship now. He's working with a church up in Detroit, and we couldn't be more happy with the path he's on now versus where he was when he was involved with gang activity and other things. So for those who want to make a difference in the community, and that's important to me as a sponsor, that's the type of organization that I would recommend anybody who's considering sponsoring, please participate.
Yeah, so we've really seen the difference that a mentor can make in the trajectory of a teen's life. And so we really encourage you as well to support the mission of YMI and join us.
Chief Arusa is now going to introduce our keynote speaker, Mayor Scott Fadness. Prior to hearing from Chief Arusa, we wanted to take this opportunity to thank Steve for his service on the YMI board and as president the past year. Chief Arusa has been on the YMI board since 2011 and has had numerous mentees over that time period. Steve has generously given of his time, talent, and treasure as a board member, president, and mentor. Under his leadership the past year, YMI has expanded its programming, continued to raise needed funds, and renewed and refined the board of directors' strategic direction. Chief Arusa was recently elected by his firefighting peers as the president of the Indiana State Fire Chiefs Association, so he will be devoting more time to that endeavor over the coming months. But we're so pleased he will remain on as a board member for YMI. Chief Arusa, on behalf of YMI, the board, and all of our mentors and mentees, thank you for setting an example as a true servant leader in our community. Not only giving your time as a board member, president, but also as a mentor, ensuring young adults have the guidance and tools they need to succeed. We truly appreciate all of your efforts, Steve. Thank you on behalf of YMI.
Well, thank you, Joe. You know, we've got a section in our outcomes report that talks about the impact of the mentees on the mentors, and I can honestly say that it's been a gift and a blessing, and I've tried to be a good steward of it. The kids affect you as much as you affect them, and it's a gift that outlives you, so thank you so much for the opportunity. You know, I'm a hugger, but the fist bump will do for now.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, you're welcome. Much, Joe. Right now, I get the opportunity to introduce our mayor. Whether it's building a smart, vibrant, or entrepreneurial city, worldwide pandemic, economic carnage from that pandemic, or equity, inclusive, and of diversity initiative, our mayor is the most humble, effective leader I've ever seen, and he has a heart for kids. Please allow me to introduce Mayor Scott Fadness of the City of Fishers.
Well, good morning and welcome everybody to the YMI Mayor's Youth Breakfast. I appreciate you all getting up this morning and spending a little time with us. First and foremost, I want to thank Chief Stephen Arusa for his leadership over the last year and really his participation and steadfast support for YMI over the years. It's been incredible, and it just demonstrates yet again how lucky I am to have the types of leaders that I do at the City of Fishers. And to Joe, best of luck in this coming year. I know you'll guide YMI well as we move forward. As I woke up this morning and flipped through Twitter, I couldn't help but be disillusioned a bit about what's going on in our country and in this world. It's hard not to get down and depressed, frankly, and dejected about all the steady stream of bad news that we get. And that's why I think it's so important that Fishers defies that narrative, that we continue to work together collectively towards a definition of community that seems harder and harder to find. And I think each and every day YMI is demonstrating that we can do that in small ways. The ability to have a positive adult role model in your life, connecting with young children, working with them through the issues that maybe as we were growing up didn't seem so painful and so difficult, but in today's world seem to some insurmountable. And I thank you all for being an active participant in that. And perhaps even the adults that are taking part in it will find some sense of purpose in a time that can be without direction. And so again, I thank you all for your work. Each and every year we do this breakfast, I contemplate on the evolution and the growth and the development of YMI. And it says something about the character and the fabric of our community that there are a group of adults that are willing to stand up and dedicate what is their most precious asset, their time, to the development of someone else's kid. I mean, that really says something about our community. And I think if we continue to have people that are willing to do that, then it bodes well for the long-term sustainability of our city. All of this can't be done, though, without resources to manage it, to run it, to do it effectively. And so I hope each and every one of you today evaluates your current financial situation and demonstrates your willingness to not only support us with your time, but also your resources. Again, thank you for being a part of this today, and continue to follow through with Youth Mentoring Initiative as we move forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aaron Blake. I've been a Fishers resident for about 5 years now. Been a mentor with YMI for about 3 years now. And what brought me to YMI was I serve on the girls HSC Fishers Mudsock basketball board. And we had Allison actually came in to one of our board meetings and had a call to action for mentors. And she looked at me directly and said, and we definitely need more African American mentors. So I answered the call and joined up. And, you know, initially I was just looking to have one mentor. And now I have 3, and I enjoy all of them. So why do I mentor? So I think it's important for kids to have mentors, especially African Americans. We need more African Americans out there. Young black men have a different set of stressors and issues that they have to deal with, and I think it comes someone that looks like them, that resembles them, that can that have a certain idea of what it is they could be going through. And I think we've discussed identity. We've discussed things such as identity, such as hormones, such as dating, things like that. It's important that I don't serve as their parent. It's hard for a kid to talk to their parent because they serve as the disciplinarian. I liken myself as more of the uncle. And I truly appreciate the time that I spend with these kids, and I think that they appreciate it the same. And so it's just a great relationship. And I think this is something that, as you see the kids mature, it's satisfying to to know that you had an impact on a kid's life that could have potentially been going a certain way. It's a matter of improving your community and making it better than it was when you first started. Be a mentor, and I highly recommend YMI for their attention to detail. They know what's going on with the kids. They have facilitators that I work closely with at the different schools and different sites, and it's all about bringing joy to these kids. It's you don't know what a kid is going through. A parent truly doesn't understand what a kid is going through. They need another adult to talk to hash things out, to maybe approach a situation from a different angle. And that's the resource that I try to provide to them.
Wow, you guys have really heard this morning why mentoring is so needed. But I also want to take a moment and share a few stories of hope. Okay? Having a YMI mentor really helped me build up my self-esteem and helped me cope with my home life. She was an amazing listener and helped me with anything I needed. Having a YMI mentor helped me get along better with people, keep me out of trouble, keep me focused on school, and to know how to ask for help when in need. YMI gave me a place to explore who I was. It opened so many doors and allowed me to notice my own self-worth. I wouldn't be doing as well as I am now if it wasn't for YMI. I think my mentor helped me with almost every aspect of my life, as I felt I got great information and help with my problems and helped me realize I'm not the only one to mess up. I feel like I have someone who's always there for me. I'm impressed that I made it this far in high school. She has been a huge help and I love her so much, and she has helped me through my problems and how to sort them out the right way. Wow. I don't know how it can get much better than that. Just showing up once a week for a conversation, these lives have forever been changed. How cool would it be for a student to write a comment at the end of the year survey about how you have impacted their life, that because of you, they have hope for a better tomorrow. You can make that happen today by volunteering to mentor or make a donation, because we can't do this without you guys. Visit us online at ymionline.org to start your mentoring journey, or to also provide the critical funding needed so we can continue to match kids with mentors. And speaking of matching kids with mentors, we've got a staff of some really amazing individuals that are really passionate about what they do, and I invite you to check them out on our website and get to know them as well. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again real soon. Take care and be well.
you.